Welcome back to It Was All a Dream with me, Daniel Ewing. I have a special guest with me today. This individual is an originator and creator in his own right, uh, doing a lot of amazing things on a lot of different platforms. He's the brand strategist for COISKI. He's involved in everything from sneakers to equipment to facilities. He's bringing you some of the dopest content and just about everything that involves sports. Help me welcome George Kiel.
Yeah, appreciate you, Daniel, man. Like what you're doing on the podcast. I'm happy to be a part of it.
George, man, I appreciate you taking time and joining me today. Man, like I said, kind of just going back a little bit of our history. Probably several years now that we kind of connected.
Yeah.
When you was at Nice Kicks, just on the sneaker side of things, kind of some of the stuff I was doing in college, and you guys kind of hit me up, to get some, get an interview or two around. I think it started around like March Madness time several years ago.
Yeah.
So man, like I said, I appreciate that love, man.
It was love. It was love way before that, man. As a kid growing up in Houston, you TJ Ford, y'all were the basketball icons. So we all looked up to you. I remember TJ, having the smile on his face after he crossed somebody over or called the alley-oop, and you was always the Russell Westbrook. You always had the scowl on your face. I said, ooh, that's the tough one right there. He ain't with the smiles. He trying to rip your heart out.
Yeah, I wanted all the smoke back then, bro. I was coming for everything and everybody, man. Just trying to prove that point, man, and let people know that basketball could be played at a high level from kids from Texas. That's what that was all about, man. Just gaining that respect.
Yeah.
But man, speaking of basketball and sports, and a lot of people might not even know this, but you being from Houston, man, just can you tell us a little bit about when did you become involved with sports or basketball? Like, what was your earliest memories of that?
Yeah, I mean, the earliest memories outside of just playing basketball with my friends and stuff, and just played all throughout, junior high, high school, college, and all that stuff. I'd say the biggest nostalgia memory is the 93, 94, 94, 95, just, the Rockets being on the TV growing up, and, having Hakeem on the TV, Vernon Maxwell, all those Houston Rockets greats that brought us those two back-to-back championships. So, it was that, and then just playing, and then again, like I said, you guys just being like those icons, man. Like, you, Dave, TJ Ford, and just other people around Houston, Carlos Hurt and all those guys, just looking up and to those dudes, man. So
right.
No, basketball has always been my first love, and just how I got started with pretty much everything. And we had some success at Side Creek, and we made it to state too. And so just all of that stuff combined, just that's my first love.
Oh wow, I didn't know that, man. I didn't know. I was going to ask you. So you went to Side Creek, and you guys went to state. What year was that?
Yeah, that was 03.
Okay, so yeah,
we went to the state semifinals. It was us versus Corpus Christi Ray, and then it was Hightower versus DeSoto. And so it was supposed to be two Houston teams,
right?
Fight Creek versus Hightower, but we both lost in the semifinals.
Man,
I don't know if I wanted any of that smoke landing with for a point guard. I'm 5'10". We had to run a zone or something.
Hey man, at that point you gotta do what you gotta do to try to get the W, man.
Yeah.
Man, so yeah, that's crazy that so you and Lanny was seniors that year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and Lanny was seniors, and everybody wanted that Houston matchup, but neither one of us made it to the championship. So
man, what's crazy that when two teams get there, right? Like you said, the matchups, those matchups very seldomly always never happen.
Yeah, never.
Right?
Yeah.
Like my senior, and I didn't notice at the time, the culture of everything was different. The world was a lot bigger as far as connecting wise, right? Even in Texas being a big state. When we was seniors, Bracy Wright and Darren Williams' team was in the semifinals.
Yep.
And they lost. But looking back on it now, like that would have been an amazing matchup, man. For the type of talent that both of our teams had, and just for the history of Texas basketball, that would have been major had we been able to play each other in the state championship game.
Yeah. And it's just going back. I remember being a freshman, sophomore, and you remember you guys were like the hottest ticket in town. Like everybody had to go see y'all play. So I remember it'd be a few times I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna go see Willow Ridge play," and he'd be like, "Nah, me and your mom about to go out, so you gotta watch your sisters." I'm like, "Man, can I bring him with him? I'm trying to go see them play."
I'll just take him with him. I can bring him with him. I gotta be there.
Right. So no, I remember seeing y'all play against Bel Air, and for those watching that don't know your history and you just that whole Willow Ridge. I mean, to me, it's still the greatest team to come out of Houston for sure.
I mean, that's to each his own with that, man. But
yeah.
we really need now, especially everybody's getting older. The eras are getting further from our time when we played. We need more guys like you, yourself, credible sources who saw it in person to tell those stories. Because we going back trying to tell these kids, what we did, and they hear it, right? Especially being from our era, they hear it, but they don't really get to see it because we didn't have the YouTube platform. We didn't have all the highlight, and we didn't have that to actually show them. And it's one of them things like you would have to be there to actually experience to really grasp it and understand how big, and how good we really were during those years.
Yeah.
I appreciate the love though, man, always.
Yeah, for sure.
So man, you grew up basically basketball being your first love. You grew up hooping. You played, through every level, young, middle school, high school. You go off to college. You played in college at Texas State, but you also was doing a lot of things in college.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that. You get to college, you're on the hoop squad, but you also doing some other things. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of set myself up just outside of basketball. Like it just got to that point where, junior, senior, I was just thinking like I have to do something outside of basketball. I didn't have the Russell Westbrook mentality. I was 6'4". I wasn't going to Duke. So I had to, just think of different ways I still wanted to stay around the sport, right? And so I remember my last year actually at Texas State, I was doing an internship at Fox KTBC, which is a local news station in Austin, Texas. And then I was doing that. I was taking, I want to say somewhere between 21 and 25 credits that last year. And then also I was writing for our Texas State University school newspaper. So I was doing all of that and trying to just figure out different ways to stay around the game and just be in media. So I was writing, I was doing, broadcast stuff, and then also, playing basketball on top of that. So, it was a lot. It was a lot of work, a lot of, sleepless nights, but I definitely wanted to graduate on time, but then also take advantage of those opportunities. And I just remember that, I was done with the internship in December of 2000. I want to say that was 2007. And so that was the end of it. But I told my internship coordinator, like, hey, I want to stay around another semester just to learn more and figure out how a news station works and just how, doing live stuff and live broadcasts and how all of that stuff works. And so while doing so, I got a chance to cover the UT football team that year as an intern. So it was good, just kind of seeing how everything works inside of sports and high major Division I stuff.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up, man. And I'm glad your story is formed like that, because that's part of what I want to, especially to the youth that's going to be listening or watching, uh, of trying to get them to understand about preparing for if you don't make it, right?
Right. Right.
Like yourself, you played in college. You know you was on the D1. You went to D1 school, not a big time school, but you played Division I basketball.
Right.
But you understood your limitations. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You understood that, hey, all right, I can play. I'm on the team. I'm on scholarship, but there's not really a future, or maybe like I don't really see a future for myself in this. So
Right.
other stuff I would love to do, but still be involved in sports or the game of whatever sport it may be, or or the game of basketball, for instance.
Yep.
And you took those necessary steps, and it had to be tough. I don't think people like no high caliber. Most I'm gonna just say most Division I athletes couldn't juggle your schedule,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, our time is very, our window of free time is very limited.
Yeah.
So for you
Yeah.
to be actually on the basketball team, doing the intern at Fox, you know, doing some broadcasting stuff, some drunk, like you was juggling a lot, man.
Yeah.
But
Everything.
to your credit, you understood like this is what I needed to do in order to put myself in a better position because my athletic ability is running out.
Right.
Right.
Correct. And that's why I encourage young people just, hey, like, you got to have those other things that you got to find out about yourself, right? Outside of basketball or whatever sport you play, like there has to be something else that kind of intrigues you and kind of gets you, you know, thinking about a profession after sports. Like it has to be that.
And it does, and sadly, for a lot of athletes, we don't really start thinking about that until until it's too late.
Right.
Because
Right.
our mindset is we're so determined and focused on trying to be the best athlete we can be, or the best player we can be, and trying to make it to the highest levels. That we either don't necessarily think about the other things that we're talented in or gifted in,
Yeah.
or uh, it just never dawns on us that, hey man, like one day I'm gonna have to do something different. So
Yeah.
how can I start preparing for that now? Like a lot of times it's like it's not until a athlete retires that they really think about, all right, now what can I do, or what
Right. Right.
and
Right.
and like I said, I can raise my hand and say, that was me. Like now that I'm retired, transitioning, just trying to figure out, all right, what are some things that I really like to do, or that I really could see myself doing now that I'm done playing. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very few guys, like I said, very few guys really figure that out in college and can juggle
Yeah.
preparing, still being an athlete, but also preparing for some other things off the court. So great segue into that, preparing you for what you got into right after high school, which was you got on with Nice Kicks, and that became a really big thing. Like when you got the job with Nice Kicks, what level of, because I would say Nice Kicks is up here now.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
level compared to like if 10 is the highest, what level was the brand of Nice Kicks when you got there?
Uh, so Nice Kicks was just starting off when I got there. As far as like, I had to be one of the first contributors, as far as like content wise and writing and stuff like that. It was me and three other people that they signed all at one time, and so at content wise, it wasn't like, on a scale of 10, maybe I don't know, four or five. Like it wasn't much there as far as just content and like lists and articles and stuff on the site. It was just kind of starting just from the ground up. And so a funny story is a lot of people think they don't believe me in this. Is I actually found the Nice Kicks listing for a job on Craigslist. Like it was on Craig. It was just a random. I don't know what I was doing on Craigslist, and I saw they were trying to like hire writers and stuff like that. So I was like, I never saw myself writing about shoes like that, but let me just, figure it out. And I've never been a big sneaker guy, even to this day. I like them, but basketball. It has been that primary thing, and if you know basketball, sneakers are a part of basketball in every facet. So, yeah, no, it was basically, um, and the owner of Nice to tell you to this day, I'm probably the only one that came into the job
suited and booted.
Yeah, yeah. I had a this is a funny story. He said I'm the only one that came there that I had like a full suit on and like some dress shoes. Everybody else came in there with like sneakers on and stuff like that. And I was like, this is a job. I gotta go in there and try to, impress in some type of way. And so
present yourself professionally. I get
right. And so that's how that started, and that was in 2008. And right from the ground up, we just started building as far as just creating content. And my initial role there was a staff writer, and so it was just pretty much just doing article after article. But then it just quickly became, associate editor, then editor in chief, and I just had to work my way up, just like any other thing,
Right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, but you, with the way things was going, I guess with that initial group, things started kind of moving fast, for Nice Kicks. Like the content was getting out, it was good. Was Nice Kicks always, was it always based around wanting to have like a sneaker
platform?
Like Nice Kicks is a shop now.
Yeah.
Right. Was that always the plan, or that just kind of formed just based on the fact that things were rolling like it was?
Yeah, I think the owner of Nice Kicks always had a dream to have a store. I don't think he back then. I don't think he had that goal in mind as far as it would be an extension of Nice Kicks. I think the goal that we all had there was to be the number one sneaker news source on the internet, and so we got to work. And like you said, it just moved fast. Year by year, just page view wise, and just the exposure that the site came about. Then it just transitioned into other extensions of the brand, like the shop, and just doing other different things. And then it became the video content, because when we first started in '08, there was no video as far as like Nice Kicks. Video wasn't even all that big as it is now. And so that took, I want to say we started video stuff in like 2011, 12. So that was even 4 years after that. So yeah, it just kind of grew into something that we all, we're just like, man, I didn't think it'd get this big. And we just started thinking of different ways to lure people in with the content.
So speaking of content, man, one of the biggest, I guess, content platforms you guys, and you're not there anymore, so I'm gonna say you guys had when you were working for Nice Kicks, was the Kicks on Court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who came up with that? How did that come about? How did that idea come about?
So that was the concept came from the owner of it, Matt Halfhill. He just wanted to find a different way to cover what people are wearing, because no one was doing that at the time. It was just a regular, keeping up with stats, like, so and so had this and this and this. But like shoes, there was a lot of difference between people, players, and what they were wearing. And so we kind of started that as like a column, like every single day, just kind of highlighting what everyone is wearing. And then that became a very readable piece on our site. And so my videographer who was there, he's now my co-partner at Koysky. We were just both sitting down thinking, and Matt came to us and said, hey, Matt is the owner. He came to us and said, hey, we need to start getting into like the video space. The videographer, guy named Norris, we kind of sat down and started to think of different ways that we could do more and kind of extend the Kicks on Court brand. And so we started doing a weekly show called the Kicks on Court Weekly Recap, in which we, highlighted it and basically took that column from the .com and made it like a video, like a weekly video piece. And so, from there, that's when we started hearing from, tons of players. And we started to see directly that the players were like actually bringing, shoes out on purpose to kind of be on the show. And so that's when we were like, oh, I think we have something. And I think, Paul George was one of them, Nick Young, and just different people were wearing, different shoes and stuff like that, and Kevin Durant. And then we started to get credentials to like some of the NBA games. And we got season credentials to like the San Antonio Spurs, which is, right up the street from Austin. And so we would go in there and do interviews with certain players about the shoes, and they would say they watch the show all the time. And that's when we knew like the extension of the Kicks on Court brand and just the video had kind of taken off.
So, like I said, with where it started and where it's at now, right? I mean, it's a big deal now. Like you said, guys are actually like Kicks on Court. Like it's become a real thing that guys are actually trying to win.
Yeah.
Do you think it's gotten kind of out of hand? From and the NBA is kind of relaxed. It's discipline on how guys are able to express themselves with individually, period. Dress code, the shoes, guys, they're tweaking some every year to make it a little bit more, allow guys a little bit more, more room and more rope to, okay, we're gonna take this restriction out. You can wear this color. So now it's basically, all right, man, like you can wear whatever you want.
Yeah. I definitely think that I see the NBA just letting people wear whatever now. Like it's not even when we were growing up, you had to match the jersey.
Coordinate, man. You had to coordinate.
Something like that. And now they just let them wear whatever. And not even just basketball shoes. People are on the court wearing all kind of like just wild stuff, man. Like trainer shoes, like I see people wearing like Yeezy shoes, and I'm like, man, that's not even that doesn't even work on a basketball court. But I guess they have the insoles, and it's just like any other shoe. But yeah, I think it definitely has gotten out of hand, and I feel like sometimes I question the purpose of like people wearing the shoes. I'm like, are you trying to impress like with your shoes, or are we playing basketball? And,
right.
that's where the line needs to be drawn, I guess.
Right. Like, yeah, man, like me growing up, man, it wasn't no platform for it. So I wasn't doing it for any attention, It just so happened I hooped, and I liked looking good when I hoop, and I wanted to have a certain type of shoe, on. So but at the same time, I know trends have changed, and and style and fashion has changed over the years. So it's a little bit cool now to kind of be off coordinated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But some, like you said, some of the stuff guys are putting on their feet now to get noticed. It's like, man, come on, man. That don't even it's not even close to matching your, you know what I'm saying, your colorway uniform. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And I tell you, I was super surprised to see that the NBA they just took that rule out. Like they were just basically, we're like, it doesn't have to match. You wear whatever. I never thought we'd see that.
I blame George Kiel and nice kicks, man. I blame George Kiel and nice kicks, man. But I mean, it's cool. But like I said, I think it's gotten a little bit out of hand. But it's cool that the guys get to express themselves. And like I said, the fans, they sneakerheads and fans, they enjoy it. From a guy who enjoyed wearing nice kicks, and I've had my share of being considered a guy who who had some heat when he played. I can't stand when guys. I honestly, I can't stand when guys just have on any color, any color shoe to go with it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
And it's just crazy because it's like, where do we go from here? Because now they wear any color, and then they're like wearing the bandanas and stuff.
Right, right.
Yeah,
The tie up, the Rafael Nadal tie up, yeah, the tennis,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's what that is, man.
yeah.
That's what
But
that
it's just
is.
like it's anything goes now. Which I'm with you. I mean, they get a chance to express themselves, but it's just like, man, where do we go? Like, I don't. What else are they gonna be doing?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Man, so we talking about kicks, man, and you mentioned a little bit earlier that you're not really a sneakerhead. I wouldn't consider myself a sneakerhead either. But you know, you just for you, I think it feels like it was just part of you like basketball. So
yeah,
having basketball shoes, seeing sneakers, being in that realm of things, just kind of went with it. But that's not really your thing. What was
yeah.
your earliest memory or your fondest memory of like your first pair, like Jordans, or like your first pair of hot sneakers that like, man, I had like, mom, I gotta have these shoes.
Yeah. It's a couple of them. So actually, um, growing up, my dad, he was one of those that's like, nah, you're not getting no Jordans. So like, nah, that those are too much. So we ain't
Yeah,
doing that.
right.
Somebody take them off your feet. He was that type of person. But I remember AAU basketball. I remember going to one of my childhood friends, my best friend, one of my best friends today, a guy named Rick. And he was the dude at school that like had all the Jordans. Like anytime a Jordan came out that Monday, he has them on. So
We all had that friend. We all
yeah,
had that friend growing up.
yeah. And so I remember before I left for a tournament, I went to his house and he gave me the Air Jordan 11s, the black and red ones, the playoff ones. And he was like, you can wear these. Because I remember our AAU colors were like black and red. So he was like, you can wear these and just bring them back when you get back. And to this day, I never gave them back to him. I just remember him being so comfortable on my feet, and we always joke about it to this day. It's just like, man, you gonna give me them shoes back?
Like,
And
bro,
it's like I never gave them back, and that's probably my first memory with like a pair of Jordans, and that was like 10th, 11th grade.
right.
But
So
outside of that, it was I remember in junior high. In junior high, our colors were orange, so my dad got me the Tim Hardaway shoes, the ones that zipped up in the front, the Nike Air Zoom T-Bug shoes, and so that was probably my first memory of having like some heat on my feet, um, outside of just some regular like off the court shoes and stuff like that. But yeah, it would have to be those Jordan 11s that I never returned. I don't know where they probably trash now, but I couldn't get those back. Every time I saw them, I just duck and dodge them.
well, that I mean, the story of your friend, man, that lets you know that he really had all the heat at the time because he wasn't really too concerned about he wasn't
Yeah,
concerned at all about them breads.
yeah. He wasn't caring about that, man. He had everything, cool gray 11s, all that stuff, man. So he probably had two pair of those. So he was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So since you're not a sneakerhead, but you do love the game of basketball.
For sure.
So I'll ask you, instead of asking you like your top 5 all-time sneakers, what's your top 5 best hoop shoe?
Top 5 best hoop shoe. Man, that's a good one. So it have to be the Kobe 5.
Okay.
Kobe 5 would definitely be up there. The Kobe 8 is up there as well. I would say the Nike Hyper Dunk, like the original Hyper Dunks.
Right.
Yeah, those were
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
those were solid. And then I would have to say that's 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would have to say the 11s since I mean they have to go in there since I never gave it back. And then one more would have to be the Kobe 4s. I'm a big, as you can see, I'm a big
All
Kobe.
Kobe's.
Yeah.
Basically,
3 of those are
Kobe.
Kobe.
Really 5. I mean, the Hyper Dunk was really kind of made
Yeah.
kind of like Kobe shoe before they actually made it.
Yeah.
So
Because I remember when they first, like when the Kobe 4 first came out, everyone was like a low cut shoe. Like what? Like
my
what
favorite shoe of all time.
Man, that shoe, yeah. And so I remember playing in them. I was like, oh man, I have to have like every Kobe. And so yeah, no, it'd be Kobe 4, 5, and 8 are my favorite ones.
My favorite hoop shoe of all time are the Kobe 4s.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And back then, right, I had just got overseas my first year, and Nike ID. This was
yeah,
this Nike ID wasn't even popular then,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
had like 6 pair of Nike ID Kobe 4s.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I just kept ordering them in different colorways for my team. Like my favorite shoe of all time. And then
yeah.
that following year, the Hyper Dunks is what came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real. I put that Hyper Dunk in my top 5 also.
Yeah, yeah. Just a good hoop shoe,
Yeah,
man.
it is. It is, man. It's a great hoop shoe. They kind of didn't do it justice when they brought it back out a couple of years ago.
Right,
But
right.
the original Hyper Dunk shoe was a great hoop shoe.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So all right, man. So you've had your Nike Kicks experience. You did that for almost a decade, if
Mm-hmm.
not a decade. Like yeah, almost. How long were you at Nike
8
Kicks?
years. Yeah,
Okay.
8 years.
So you
Mhm.
did that for almost a decade. You're transitioning now. How did you come up with the Koysky idea?
So I told you about Norris, the guy earlier, the one that was with me over there. We always had aspirations of creating content outside of shoes, right? And because I mean, you see now, like I'm not the a super big sneaker head, but with the quality of our content and the we just wanted to do stuff like in sports. Like shoes could be a branch of the tree, but sports is kind of what we wanted to do. And we just started to see like all of the publications wanted to interview and talk to, the LeBrons and the Kevin Durant's and all of the bigger people, like just the big superstars of the sports. And we were like, the people who have the greatest stories are those flies on the wall, like the equipment manager who, like, say the coach is cursing out the player. You don't even think that the equipment manager is over there, like, oh man, he going in on
All
him,
right.
And so equipment managers, like, just the people that make up sports, right? That don't, the unsung heroes,
That don't get the recognition. I
yeah,
got you. Yeah.
underappreciated people. And so um that was pretty much the gist of what we wanted to do as far as covering sports from that angle, and also covering sports from like a sports science angle, and also from you know stuff from like the behind the scenes aspect, like facilities and stuff like that. And so that's pretty much how that came about, in trying to create a lane where fans can come and learn about their teams, and learn about whatever it is in sports, but just from a behind the scenes angle. And so that's kind of where we birthed that. And Koysky itself is basically just a nod to just content itself. It's just takes the CO content, and then the IS is, and then KI for king. So content is king. So it's Koysky, yeah.
That was gonna be my next question for the people who may be like, what is Koysky? But you just explained it. So Koysky stands for content is king, which is
Right.
pretty dope. Pretty
Yeah,
dope that you
yeah,
came
for
up
sure.
with that, man.
Yeah.
So you talk about the LeBron Jameses and Kevin Durant's and getting to see the Cameron Indoor Stadium in a Duke facility,
Right.
Carolina, like you at Roll Tide, you know what I'm saying? You're in Alabama doing, like, you've been to some dope. You've created this lane where you've been able to navigate and be in some dope places, man, and interview some very interesting and dope people. Uh, do you have any favorite your favorite feature? Like, man, I can't believe we got to do this feature. Or so I say that. So my first question is, your most wow moment of, like, I cannot believe we're getting to cover this, this person or this, or this facility or whatever,
Right. Right.
and your top 3 or 5 best facilities you've got to see so far.
Right. Right. The a funny story. It's Duke would actually probably be the one that is just the wow moment, because
Say that
when
again.
Duke.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you why. It's a
Yeah.
funny story behind it. So the facility tour series you're talking about is called Royal Key, right?
Right.
We actually, me and Norris actually started that while at Nice Kicks under a name called Soul Access, and we started doing it, but we hadn't done it to like the capacity we're doing it now. It was just like, let's go inside of, a certain team. And so Duke was actually the first one that we were gonna do. And it was a guy by the name of, I forget his name on the team, starts with a T. It's a point guard.
Tyler Thornton.
Tyler Thornton, yeah. Yeah, it was, so we reached out, we were talking to him because, we had been following each other for a while. And so I explained the concept to him, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. So just stay tuned or whatever." So then I want to say maybe a month later, he was like, "I couldn't get it, but we're gonna do it on our own." I was like, "Oh man, like kind of." It was, and then so they as a team kind of shot an episode of what it would look like or whatever. And so I was just like, "Man, I don't." They kind of did it, and fast forward like 3 or 4 years later, we go through other channels or whatever, and we get it done with one of the assistant equipment managers. But the biggest thing about that trip is we got a chance to go to the Duke North Carolina game, and like that game is like impossible to get into, like impossible. You have to do all kind of, and it was at Cameron Indoor Stadium. So if you're not a student or a grad student or something, or a superstar, like it's impossible to get into that. And so we, as a part of doing it, we got a chance to see that game, and that's a bucket list like game for me. So it would probably be like that Duke, just that whole weekend, just doing
Right.
the facility, being in Cameron and talking to uh man, I'm blanking on his name, Nolan, talking to Nolan about just the history. That was a big one. And then as far as my top 5 facilities, it would have to be Oregon football for sure. They have a lot of stuff.
That's a cheat code
That's
though.
a cheat code.
That's
It's
a
a
cheat
cheat
code.
code.
But
Yeah.
but they're of course they're gonna have the dopest. I mean, of course, but that's a cheat
Yeah.
code.
Yeah. They have too much going on over there. So I would say them, Duke, North Carolina basketball. Actually, Colorado football is up there for me. They're not a powerhouse, but their facility was
Right.
just out of this world. So probably those 4, and then the 5th one will be probably Texas football. I mean, it's, you think of just being a historic program, and everything they do there is big. So yeah, it's probably those 5.
Yeah, Colorado is a surprise. Like you said,
Yeah.
you wouldn't think of but I mean, as far as facilities and these programs putting this money into to the athletic programs, and I mean these universities putting money into the athletic programs, trying to boost things and draw and get recruits in. I mean, you
Yeah.
never when you investing into something, you're gonna put put the money up to try to make it better. So, and I
Yeah.
get it.
I noticed when I said to Carolina, when you didn't say nothing, but
No, actually, I see this. Check this out. But I see you got your Carolina, but it's Villanova, I think. But
yeah, that's Villanova. Yeah.
But you got, yeah. But no, check this out, man. Look, I got love for for Carolina, as far as like I respect the the tradition and the history.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand, man. When you're coming up as a Duke recruit or a Carolina recruit, and a lot of times both teams are recruiting both kids.
Mm-hmm.
We know these guys already. We've had relationship with, what I'm saying? So it's all good. The fans and the media make it like like we don't know each other, like we don't like each other. Like, it's all good for us. We got to go out there and do a job basically, but that's compete. But at the end of the day, it's always love and respect.
Sure.
When we see each other off the court or whatever the case may be, and after basketball, after we left our schools, it's always love and respect.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, with the whole Jordan thing, I mean, I saw that episode as well a while back, but the Carolina, you know, they got, that's a cheat code too, man. Especially
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
basketball side,
for
that's a
sure.
cheat code also, man. Like, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
kudos to them. Kudos to them. And kudos to them for that.
It's like you sweating to the forehead
Yeah,
talking about
nah,
them.
you know.
Nah, I'm playing with you.
But so you got to do this. You got to do the Duke experience and view the facility. And an icing on the cake for you was that you also got to attend the game that they was playing Carolina, you know, that weekend. A lot of people try to ask me about it, right? Like, man, how is that? Can you describe it from a spectator? Because I was like, man, you can't put it into words. Like, you have to. That's always my answer. Like, you can't describe that atmosphere. As a spectator who's actually been there, can you describe it?
Unlike any other sports experience I've ever attended, like it's indescribable. Just the fans all being on the same like wavelength, like everyone's like, no, I can't describe that. And the thing is, like on the outside looking in, like when you see a game on TV, right? Cameron looks like really big.
Looks
It looks
huge.
like it's a monstrous stadium. It's not at all. But it's just the atmosphere there is, I don't know, man. It's out of this world. And I see now, after watching the game there, I see why Duke's home record is so great. It's like, you know, you always hear that cliche, like, we know we couldn't do it without the fans. Like literally the fans play a big part. Okay, Duke gets like the best recruits, right?
Right.
But the fans play a huge part in just like that atmosphere, man. And it's unlike anything I've ever seen in my life.
No, you do have to give the Cameron Crazies credit, a lot of credit for always setting the stage. Like you said, the atmosphere is it's never gonna really be a dull moment.
No.
You know, unless we're looking like we're about to get upset. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
from the start of things, the atmosphere, the fans are gonna be engaged, they're gonna be creative.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're gonna be in sync. Like
Yeah.
you like how did they come up with, and everybody's doing the same thing at the same time on cue, you know? So
And I literally remember I didn't realize how close the fans are to the actual action, right? I remember someone on North Carolina taking the ball out on the sideline, and you know they were doing the whole like this, and I was like, they about to touch him, like they could touch him right now.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
it's something else. I never seen anything like that.
But I think that also what makes Cameron Indoor so unique is because it's not a huge arena, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the way it's made up, the fans are like right there on the court, as opposed to, you know, the other schools who have bigger stadiums and arenas. It's an arena, so it might be packed and it might be filled. They might have a good student section, but you're not right there on top of the game, right?
Right.
So that, you know,
Another thing I didn't realize is like the students have these guidelines they have to do to get in the game. Like they have to tailgate for like months.
Oh no, it's serious.
Like I was like, wow, like
it's a little OD.
yeah.
No, it's a little OD.
It is. Yeah, and they were telling me that you know, some of the people were like there for months. Just like they, you know, some people go to class, the other ones are man to 10 up, and they'll stay. And I didn't, no words. I have no words for that.
Man, like I said, it's a special place, and like I said, you have to give, and they might not get enough credit for people actually, like you spoke upon it, talking about like, man, I was amazed at the student section and just, you know, how they come up with stuff and it's what they have to go through just to get into the game. Like they literally, a game like that, a game like Carolina, a big game, they're literally camping out for about a month, right? Mind you, it's in the middle of winter.
Yes, that's
you know?
what I'm saying. It's like it's wild, man.
It takes a lot, man. And but that's what makes Duke and you know, in that atmosphere, Cameron Indoor Stadium, that's what makes it so special playing for Duke and in Cameron every year. Like I said, it doesn't stop. It's never a drop off for, you know, the students. It's never a drop off with the student section in the Cameron Crazies.
Right. So I have one quick question for you.
Right. Go ahead.
So I always pay attention. Just weirdly, I always pay attention to the coaches on the sidelines, right? I always see, like, I try to figure out which coach outside, because we both know when we play college basketball, the coach, like, in front of the game, he's calm and chill, but at practice, he could be somebody totally different, right?
Right.
And so I always look at Coach K and I'd be like, man, he's very mild mannered. And so, and I wanted, my question to you is he mild mannered in practice?
Answer your own question, man. Man, look, Coach K is the ultimate professional, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mind you, Coach K came up under Bobby Knight.
yeah,
He played for Bobby Knight, so
yeah,
you
yeah,
know so in practice you see, and he's never done anything like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
he's never done anything that crossed the line. But in practice, you're gonna see more of a Bobby Knight than you're
Hmm.
gonna see the game day Coach K.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, he's, man, just that military background, him being from Chicago, everything that makes up Coach Hayes. He's fiery, he's passionate.
hmm,
He's ready to go every day, man. So when
yeah,
stuff is not right, he's gonna let you know. He's gonna get after. He's gonna challenge the team. He's gonna challenge you as an individual.
right.
So a lot of that you'll see in practice. And very seldom. I mean, you catch him every now and then when stuff not going well on the court. If the camera's on the huddle, you'll see him. You might not hear what he's saying, but you could tell it's not going. You know what I'm saying? You can tell it's not
Yeah,
going
yeah.
nice over there. But yeah, Coach K, yeah, he's totally different in practice than he is in on the sideline for a game.
I figured that. I figured
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, so you've had you're doing the Royal Key thing. Man, I got to tell you about this because I enjoy. I don't catch all of them, but certain schools I like. Man, I want to see this. Certain schools I actually like. Man, I got to tune in and see what they're talking about.
Right.
But what is the one? What is the one? You said Colorado surprised you.
Hmm.
What is the one from a more player side or celebrity side feature that you did that was like, man, this person, this individual, he got some that was unexpected for you. Like, he got a nice collection or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Man, that would have to be. Man, we've done so many of them. I remember we were at Nice Kicks. We did one on. Uh, we did one on DJ Khaled, and I didn't know at the time, like, that he had just everything that he had, and was kind of not knowledgeable in what he had too. So that one was a big surprise. I mean, he had literally every Jordan that you could think of. And then honestly, another one. I mean, it's not like a mega celebrity or nothing, but Josh Childress. He has, like, very knowledgeable in, like, just shoes, and just had everything that you could
Yeah.
think of as far as Nike basketball stuff. And so, yeah, he was a big one. And then Game and Ludacris, we filmed them. They had some pretty nice collections and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a mixture of different people that we featured.
I'm gonna tell you, I got one for you, and maybe you agree or you don't disagree. But the one out of all the ones that I've ever seen, I was most surprised, and it was an interest. I mean, the feature was interesting too because, like I said, it was a surprise. Like, I wouldn't have had expected this person to have this type. Langston Galloway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Langston Galloway, the feature you did with him, man, I was like, okay. Like, I was tuned. I was like, okay, what else he got? Like, I want, like, man, what
yeah.
else you gonna pull out? Like, I
Right.
was very. He caught me by surprise with what he had.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff that I had never seen before in any collection. I tell you another guy. He's not a celebrity, but we went to Australia in maybe 2 years ago, and there was this guy by the name of Michael Fan, and I'll have to send you a link to that one. This dude had every Michael Jordan shoe that has ever come out, and they're, like, all autographed as well. And I was just
Wow.
like, how do you come across, like, being in Australia? How do you? And he was just like, man, I just every day I'm just on the hunt for, like, shoes. And so him and then we recently came back maybe a good year ago from Beijing, and the dude is like a Kobe fanatic, and he had like this courtyard, like a Chinese courtyard where it was like three different rooms, and like all three rooms were full of Kobe's, and it was just crazy to see. So yeah, the and they love Kobe over there. So
Right. Kobe has a big following in Asia and in Chinese. Yeah,
yeah,
man. Yeah, some of these people, man. They like I said, I at this point, I'm not like I don't consider myself a sneakerhead, like
yeah,
because it's not that serious for me.
no,
And over the years, I've never collected shoes. Like
yeah,
I've always had, especially on the basketball court in college, I've always had a lot of different flavors, but I
mhm.
never like once I was done with them, I would either trash them or give them away.
Right,
And just,
right, right.
and just about all those shoes have resurfaced multiple times,
Yeah,
since then. Even the shoes that I didn't play in, just all the
mhm.
Air Force Ones back in the day, uh, the different flavors they was doing with the different countries and all that, the Air Max back then, the different Jordans that I actually did wear, and like all those stuff has resurfaced multiple times since that time. I'm like, man, if I had known that there was going to be a such thing as a sneaker game, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I would, my collection would be pretty heavy.
Right,
Uh,
right, right, right.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I don't collect sneakers. So man, if I'm not wearing them, I'm gonna give them away
yeah, yeah.
or sell them. So now you can you can sell your shoes. So I give them away, or like feel like they worth something. I'll sell them. But I'm
Tell
not
them,
hoarding
yeah.
no shoes, man.
Nah, I'm with you on that, man.
Not hoarding no
That's never
shoes,
been
man.
a big passion of mine like that.
Well, man, before we let you go, I really want to talk to you about. I mean, you're doing a lot of great things in a lot of different spaces, but I want to talk to you about your foundation.
Hmm.
You have the, and I'll let you share. You have different stuff going on, but
Yeah, it's the Kiel Colon Cancer Foundation. We started that back in 2015. Um, my mom passed away of colon cancer in March of 2014, and so we wanted. It actually started off as a small tournament, actually. So we, maybe 4 months after she passed, we created this. It's kind of like kicks on court, but we brought it to life in an actual 3-on-3 tournament in Austin, Texas. And so it was like a sneaker themed 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We held it at the Round Rock Sports Center up there, and after that, the biggest thing, the reason why we put that on is because physical inactivity was one of the biggest factors in people getting colon cancer. And so we wanted to think of different ways for people to get out, enjoy themselves, and kind of exercise a bit and have fun doing it. And so after that, we kind of turned it in. My wife was very instrumental in turning it into a nonprofit 501c3 organization. Um, and we just started building from there, like coming up with different programs. Our Blue Knots initiative, which is our biggest initiative, where we encourage people during the month of March. March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Kind of encouraging them to wear blue laces as a universal symbol of colon cancer awareness. And so that quickly took off, especially with me being at Nice Kicks and the space that I was in at the time. And it's just a nonprofit organization to just create awareness for um, colon cancer, which is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the nation. And it's a very beatable and treatable disease, but it's one that's like a silent killer. It doesn't show too many like big symptoms. And so that's pretty much what the organization symbolizes. Just that fight against colon cancer, and just do it in memory of my mom.
man, that's dope, man. And it's important that for circumstances like that and illness, disease like such as cancer, that we have more awareness, uh, and we put more spotlight on such things, get to inform people more.
Yeah.
And that's we need to be informed more about certain things to be more knowledgeable. like you said, to possibly you said it's a beatable and treatable, preventable disease. But if you're not informed and knowledgeable about it,
Correct.
and as you know, that's how things how things eventually end up taking over certain situations.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely, and
you
definitely.
mentioned you mentioned the 3-on-3 tournament. You guys still doing it? It's called the Kick Roll Classic, right?
Right. It's called the Kick and Roll Classic. It's on a bit of a hiatus right now due to obvious reasons with the pandemic, and then also we just wanted to take a year to kind of reorganize our programming. So we're looking to bring it back. Once the pandemic is, once we return to somewhat normalcy, looking to bring that back, and then also our program, our event called the Blue Tie Affair, which is a sneaker themed tux and tennies type of gala that we do once a year. And so that's another one of our programs in which we kind of raise awareness for the actual disease, and we have some other things coming down the pipeline with it, just some different programming and just helping people on the ground instead of just doing event after event. But it's just all based upon what we see here with the pandemic. But no, we definitely have Kick and Roll coming back, and some other things coming down the pipeline.
Man, that's good. That's good stuff. George, I see in the background in your office, I see some variety of stuff, man. You got your Koysky helmet. You got I see some Kobe's and
Yeah.
KD's. Any special memorabilia, just from whatever, from a gift from someone that you kind of cherish the most, or that you take good pride in having?
Yeah. Actually, so starting off with those shoes, if you notice, they're all like blue and red for the
I see the
most
blue
part.
laces, and I see the blue laces in all of them.
Yeah, so all of those are pretty much from our organization. What Nike has pitched in a few times on some different prizes for our winners and stuff. And so blue is the color, the official color for colon cancer awareness. So all of those shoes have something to do with colon cancer and are themed by them. Red was my mom's favorite color, so there's always red somewhere in those shoes. But I would say one of the biggest things, the coolest things that I received when we did the Oregon football facility tour. I guess they had they did their research, and so upon leaving there, they gave me a package of like there was an Oregon hoodie that said "Stomp Out Cancer" on it. And then they gave me like some matching shoes with some Kobe's. So they really supported the cause and have done some different things for it as well. So, but yeah, no, it's people are generous, man, when we do those events. So they've been. I don't get to keep the jerseys or anything like that, but they give some nice stuff.
That's love, man. I was gonna ask you something about that. Like when you go to the football facilities, I've seen you a couple of times. They out like you jersey, like you football jersey. You got the pants on. Like, is that something they already like got set up for you? Or are you kind of like getting fitted for that stuff when you get to just to get the feel? Like they treat you like a recruit, kind of.
Yeah, it's case by case. The most of them have it set up already, so they'll just have it in the equipment room. But then after a few episodes, I was like, man, this stuff is this is made for a person who's like currently like 100% in shape, man. Like I just give me a shirt and a hat, man. I'm not about to be doing all this pulling and tugging into these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, no, they have it set up, and one of the reasons I stopped, we still do it from time to time, but I remember we were at Michigan State filming with them, and I put all of the stuff on, and I guess it was right around the time they had practice, and so they were all coming out of the locker room to go to the field, and they saw me, and they was like, "Is this the new recruit? We gonna kill him!" Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh no, I just."
Everybody was licking their chops.
Yeah, they was like, yeah. I was like, man, no, we just doing it.
Let me take this off right now.
got to get out of this stuff, man. It's like, look at this 5'10", 100.
Yeah.
Like, no, we got to get him. Yeah. So.
Man, yeah, that's good, man. That's good. So, man, before I get you out of here, George, man, what's on the horizon for Koysky, man? What you got in the works, man, that you're looking forward to presenting to the world?
Yeah, so it's more so extending the brand. So we actually have obviously our YouTube. We're doing what we do there, but we're gonna like re-energize our .com, our COISKI.com, and kind of bring our viewers and audience some really good stories and some interviews on our .com platform. But then also doing the same with podcasting. We have a couple podcasts coming down the pipeline that we're kind of catering to people, juniors and seniors in college, just showing them the different avenues of sports that people can partake in. Like it kind of what we talked about at the beginning. Like you don't have to be an athlete all the time. We're just kind of showing people all of the different positions in sports that people hold, and so that's coming down the pipeline. And then a lot of our series that we have, like the Royal Key, will continue. We just launched one maybe about 5 months ago called Sports Dissected, that kind of shows the companies that create the very things in sports. So a couple of those episodes are like, how a football is made, how a weight room is installed into these programs with those said companies. So continue with that series, and we have a few other series coming down the line that I think people will enjoy.
Man, George, I think so too, man. Like I said, I check in, man, as much as possible with the stuff you got, man. Been, like I said, we kind of connected several years ago, and ever since then, been following you, man, on the different platforms you've been on. Bro, I appreciate you taking time and chopping it up with me and sharing a little bit of your journey, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. It was my pleasure. My pleasure.
No doubt. Wish you well and everything going forward, man. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right. Appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.